morning, Dr. Balak. Shall we start?
Sir, good morning, sir. We will start, sir, please.
Yeah, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr.
Good morning, sir.
Assistant
Vice-Chancellor,
Professor.
sir.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning to all.
I am the Associate Editor of Roots Journal, and I welcome you all.
Hello, your voice is not very clear, sir.
Sir,
We are
audible? Am I audible?
Yeah, please now.
Yes. I'm the host of this program, and
Yes.
first of all, let me welcome our Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dr. M.KRISHNAN, sir, for this August gathering and this epoch-making event. Yes, sir. And I also welcome the Secretary, Principal, and professors, associate professors, and all the faculty members of Madura College and the resource persons and the participants. So I wish we get the great creative impacts of this COVID-19 on Indian economy. This international conference would be a great success. So with these words, let me just ask the organizers to go ahead with this program. Thank you.
Hello.
Dr. Bala?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm here on behalf of Dr. Bala, representing Dr. Bala. Over to Narayanan, sir.
Voice is not clear.
Voice not clear.
Sir Narayanan, sir, your voice is not very clear, sir. Thank you, your audio, sir.
Narayan, sir, please.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Department of Economics and Center for Research in Economics. Very happy and proud to start its academic research in association with BODHI international journals by organizing an international online conference on impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. First of all, I wholeheartedly invite you all to this conference. Let us start the inauguration with the college prayer by Dr.
Asatoma सत्कमय तमसोमा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं कमय कुंड्रे कुलमुम ஒருவனே தேவனும் நன்றே நினைவின் நமனாமே சென்றே புகுந்தது இல்லை சித்தத்து நின்றே நிலைபெற நீ நினை துய்விலே ஓம் சாந்தி சாந்திகி.
Now I invite our respected head of the department, Dr. S. Deenadayalan, to deliver the welcome address and concept note.
Good morning to all of you. Most respected secretary of this prestigious century-old institution, Sri Nadana sir, today's chief guest, the Honorable Vice-Chancellor of one of the premier universities in the country, Kamaraj University, Prof. M.KRISHNAN, respected treasurer, N. Srinivasan, beloved and respected principal of this great institution, Dr.KK, and the professor, Dr. V. MANICKAVASAGAM, former Dean, Faculty of Management, Alagappa University, Karaikudi, faculty members of our department, and faculty members of other institutions and universities, students, research scholars, participants from other colleges and universities, resource persons, paper presenters, and chairpersons. Very good morning to all of you. So the Department of Economics and Center for Research is very happy to welcome all of you for the one-day online international conference on impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. Let me welcome our Honorable Secretary of the Madura College, Sri Nadana. Let me want to say a few words about him. And he is one of the multicultural personalities in the state. That he is a person with high confidence, commitment, courage, caliber, and above all, a character. And he is the person who has been working tirelessly for the betterment of the institution for the past 10 years, both as treasurer as well as the secretary, and he has been consecutively elected for third time as the secretary for the prestigious Central World Madura College. He is the key person in bringing the NAC accreditation, autonomy review committee, and providing a basic infrastructure for the college development. And he is the person who has been recruiting the faculty members for more than 60% in the college. On behalf of the department, I request and invite to be the president for this one-day international conference on impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. On behalf of the department, I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. Let me welcome our Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dr. M.KRISHNAN, and he has been serving in various capacities right from the professorship up to the Honorable Vice-Chancellor position. He has been one of the person who is identified as a resource person for the expert for Institute of Eminence of the country. And in his various capacities, I am very fortunate to work with him as a member syndicate of Kamaraj University for the past 2 years. My observation is that He is a man of simplicity, honesty, and integrity. And he has been elevating the institution Madurai Kamaraj University to a higher level. And his wish is to elevate the institution of eminence in the near future. When I approached him within a short notice, and he happily agreed my request, and he is with us amidst his schedule. He is prepared to give inaugural address, and we are really fortunate to have you as guest and also to deliver the inaugural address for this international seminar, sir. And this is the first of its kind that our department is organizing one-day international conference. Before that, we have organized for only regional level, national level, and state level programs we have been organizing. But this time only we are organizing the seminar in the international nature. So on behalf of the management, principal, faculty members, non-teaching staff, and students of the Madura College, I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, for this one-day national. I also welcome our treasurer, Sri Ananda Srinivasan, who always speaks less and do more for the welfare of the institution. On behalf of the department and the college, I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. I welcome our beloved principal, Dr. J. Suresh, for his continuous support and cooperation for the Department of Economics. Only we are able to conduct this kind of program. And on behalf of the department, I welcome you. And he is the motivating point. Under his leadership, we are able to produce more doctorates in our department. And I also extend my warm welcome to Professor V. MANICKAVASAGAM, former Dean and Faculty of Management, Alagappa University. He is going to give a special address in the seminar, and he is a good teacher, orator, and also an administrator. On behalf of the department, I welcome you, sir. At this juncture, I would like to mention few things about our department. The Department of Economics is known for its credentials, and we have started our department in the year 1946, even before 1 year's independence. And this is the 74th year for our department. In the history of our department, this is the first time we are organizing the international online conference. And it is a full-fledged department right from the undergraduation, post-graduation, MPhil, and PhD. We have successfully produced 20 PhDs and 100 MPhils. And this year, we have admitted 32 students in first year MA Economics program ever since the history of the Department of Economics in our college and also in the state. Every year, we are organizing student level seminar, faculty level seminar, and cultural program, both at the state level and also national level. This year, I am delighted and happy to organize this online international conference. And we have brought a galaxy of resource persons from different parts of our country and also from United Kingdom. Madam PARIN SOMANI, international academic scholar from London, United Kingdom. And Dr.KK, our associate professor, Madurai Kamaraj University. Dr.KK is Villalan, Head of Department of Economics, Pachepas College. Dr. TIRUPATHI Rao, Professor and Dean, Department of Statistics, Ramanujam, School of Mathematics, Pondicherry University. Dr. J. Alagirisamy, from Associate Professor and Head, Department of Economics from Loyola College. And Dr. MAMTA, BRAMBHATT, Management Faculty from Gujarat University. These are the resource persons who are going to address in the international conference. And I wholeheartedly welcome all of them for this one-day online international conference. And I also extend my warm welcome to Dr. Balakrishnan, BODHI International Journal, and Mr. Kavi of this international conference. I also delighted to welcome the chairpersons, paper presenters, resource persons, and department faculty members, students, scholars, participants from our colleges and other colleges and universities. On behalf of the department, I wholeheartedly welcome every one of you for this international conference. With regard to concept note, we are all facing a very acute problem, the name of coronavirus infectious disease 2019. And a couple of days before, our Prime Minister Modi ji has pointed out that COVID-19 is the biggest challenge ever since the Second World War. Whole world has been affected by COVID-19. The impact of COVID-19 more on negative and less on positive side. On the negative side, COVID-19 has its impact on social, cultural, ethical, psychological, physiological, spiritual, political, and more on economical aspects. And on the positive side, we are forced to go for virtual learning and continuous virtual learning, and we are comfortably working from home. And there is a concept which recently pointed out by the Prime Minister that work from lab. So these are the points, positive impact on the COVID-19 2019. So with these few words of introduction, we don't want to take much of time because there are a galaxy of people who have been assembled here to present their views. So with this concept note, I once again welcome the Secretary, Madura College Board, the Honorable Vice-Chancellor, and Professor MANICKAVASAGAM, and PARIN, and other chairpersons, resource persons, paper presenters, and the participants for this one-day international online international conference. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
To deliver a presidential address and release the first copy of the
Thank you,
sir.
And because of the Department of Economics, let me invite and request our Honorable Secretary to be the president for this one-day international conference and to release the edited book. And the first copy of the book, I request our beloved principal to receive the first copy of the book. Thank you, sir.
A very good morning to all of you. Dr. Deenadayalan, my colleague in the board, Anand Sri, Principal Dr. Suresh, Vice-Chancellor Dr. Krishnan, Dr. Manikavasagam, other eminent resource persons who are going to speak to the guests today. My dear faculty members of the college, participants, and the friends from the co-hosting institution, a warm morning to all of you. Most of us are new to the new type of interaction through video conferencing. Of course, people like Dr. Krishnan, they must have been used to it for a long time because they used to interact with people from abroad. Persons like us are very much used to it for the last about 5-6 years. But COVID has made everyone to learn that art of communication through visual and audio medium seamlessly. Thanks to the telecommunication network across the country and connecting all countries, we are able to get the opportunity to listen to eminent speakers from various countries also. And this seminar is rightly christened as an international conference because of the participation of eminent persons from other countries also. I convey my greetings on behalf of the board of Madura College to all those present here. I have great pleasure in releasing the booklet on impact of COVID-19 on the Indian economy being released today. I have gone through quickly, not every page, but I have gone through the contents and the conclusion of the authors of all the 25 articles. There were 3 articles, possibly rightly so, on education, 2 on MSME, and 1 each on various other subjects. All the articles are very interesting, and one should read that not like a glancing through it, but read it fully to understand the perspective given by the authors of the articles. One may agree or disagree, but as a perspective, we can take many useful informations from the articles presented. I compliment all the article writers who have taken pains to do a lot of empirical analysis, interact with many agencies and people, either in person or through other communication, to get data, compile that usefully in an easily understandable form, and bringing out their presentation on the table. I compliment the department for doing that, and I have great pleasure in releasing the art and the book being released on this occasion. I will just show them over the camera, and I would request our principal, Dr. Suresh, to formally show the book from his side on the camera so that it is made as virtually released. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Shall I continue with my presidential address?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Respected participants, I am not an economist, but being a financial person, I cannot escape from the economy. Rather, all of us, none of us can escape from the economy. And most of us feel the pinch of the COVID. Whether it is man-made or divine-made, no one knows, unless somebody brings out the truth. But there is no point in arguing about that now after 8 months of suffering. But still, the suffering has made a deep impact on the international community. It has opened up borders, and it has opened up the positive side of the human beings in most of the countries. Everyone wants to help the other, be helpful to the fellow being. That we are able to see everywhere. As we live in India, we have a concern about our country only first, and then on the global economy. The book just now released throws light on many issues, though I may or may not agree with that. But still, I look at India on a positive note only. I always say that the strength of India is its population, and the weakness of India is also the population. There was a time during the late 70s and early 80s, an aggressive program and family planning. All of us know how we turned upside down, turned the political system because of that, and the emergency and so on. After that, though emphasis is given on family planning, it is more left to the individuals to decide what kind of families they should have. And thanks to good education, almost all around our country, people have realized the importance of having a limited children, and also educate them, empower them, provide them economic support. That is how I look at it. Because I am doing audit for some of the associations who are concentrating on family planning across villages. And their input is quite pleasing, because people are aware of having a small family and at the same time providing the basics to the children. But still, poverty and unemployment are the problems we face. But I was just going through the economic scenario. I was pleasantly surprised to know that in terms of the GDP, India is not far behind. Though USA continues to be the number one with $213 million lakh, India stands fifth at $28.75 million. And we are Above us are only Germany, Japan, China, and USA. So we are definitely a growing economy, thanks to the increase in the service sector contribution towards the GDP, not the manufacturing sector. Manufacture is almost showing some stagnation. As far as inflation is concerned, we have to go a long way. Internationally, we stand at 14th place in terms of higher inflation with 7.27%. In fact, about 1.5% below Bangladesh. And next to us is only Pakistan with 9% inflation, which is a cause of concern. I am giving the figures as of September 2020. But on the unemployment side, though in spite of the COVID, the migration of the uneducated but employment oriented migrant workers, we have not been affected too badly if the statistics referred by me in the journals is accepted to be true. Our unemployment percentage is 6.7%, but our neighbor Bangladesh is only 4.3%, even Pakistan is 5.5%. But considering our population, which I said being the strength and also the weakness, we are not too badly off, because even developed countries like France, USA, their unemployment rate is much higher, almost 1% higher than us. So we don't have to feel pessimistic about the economy, but we cannot be complacent. And similarly, our forex reserves are also comfortable right now, thanks to the reduced import of petroleum, which accounts for almost 37% of our import. We are standing at the third place as far as forex reserves is concerned, at $5.72 million lakh, and during this COVID period, our dollar position has improved by $4.3 million. China stands first at $32.66 million, and above us is only Japan, and even USA with $1.39 million is much below at 10th position, and we are in the third position. We can take some heart out of it. Why I say all these things? We are fortunately an import-oriented country and not an export-oriented country still. Our imports is much higher than our exports, basically because of petroleum. But in terms of economic standing, we stand at 23rd among the world countries as of now, compared to 39th in 2016-17, which is a heartwarming information. But still we have a long way to go. The World Economic Forum identifies India as the second fastest growing economy, next only to China. And we are projected to be on par with China by 2050. And the demand in domestic consumption is the driver for India. That is where our population becomes a strength. But can we be complacent? No. And we are all happy to know that the government is not complacent. They are bringing in a lot of measures to improve the problems that we have faced with the COVID. And we get some announcements, and the economists here would be able to appreciate it better, the impact or the benefits that it's going to accrue to the economy. But still we have problems on low capacity utilization, bad loans, poor insolvency resolution, and large influx of imports and incompetency set in the banking system, our NPA problems in the banks, then difficulties in implementing turnkey projects with a lot of environmental and political stumbling blocks in almost all development projects, and falling exports. The challenges we face is more on efficient utilization of the demographic advantage of the youth, who are the strength, which is the biggest underbelly of the country, with more than 45 crores youth is the strength of our economy, and almost 80% of them are educated also. At least they have some school education minimum. But what is pulling us down, in my opinion, is the rampant corruption, which leads to inequality, and employment generation becomes a casualty because of automation, and falling agricultural production as compared to earlier periods. So though we can still say that we are not importing products we are able to produce in our country thanks to green revolution, but still on the fruit and other pulses we are importing. Low grain production is the biggest disadvantage, and falling investment because of the political sentiments and the stumbling blocks being brought in for political reasons. If we are able to overcome all these things, we have to accept that economy can thrive on two fronts, three fronts, I would say. Can somebody mute the phone? Mute the. Yeah. Thank you, Renga Devi, madam. The economy can thrive on three fronts. If the monsoon is good, if you are able to manage the water resources and improve the agricultural production, that will be the biggest boon for any country. And the manufacture, core manufacture should be sustained and improved on a continuous basis, because the need of the society increases as the population grows and the lifestyle and the living standards improve, and the service sector should be nurtured. If these three things are concentrated, and with manufacturing giving hand-holding to the MSME sector, which is now being actively done by the government, our economy can definitely bounce back, even though our large investments may not be forthcoming immediately. This will definitely lead to industrial revival, then capital approval, and we can focus on sustained growth of consumption. So any economy can thrive more on one side on the production and the other side on consumption. So the government's endeavor should be to look at both if they want to sustain the economy. I hope and pray that the authorities and the rulers and the economists and the people who are running the government are much aware of it. If a sensitive and sensible approach is made on all these areas, definitely India can get out of the COVID situation much faster than many other countries. That is my feeling. With this, I am happy that I am able to share some of my thoughts, and I thank the department for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts with you in this August forum, and I wish the seminar all success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deenadayalan sir, put on your mic, sir. Deenadayalan sir.
Sir, thank you very much for your enlightening speech about the COVID-19 and its impact on Indian economy with facts and figures, sir. Thank you very much. On behalf of the department, I extend my heartfelt thanks to you. Thanks to our Honorable Secretary, sir. Thank you, sir. Now let me invite our Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Professor M.KRISHNAN, to deliver inaugural address for the one-day online international conference.
Can you hear my voice, sir? Please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My dear and respected Sri S. Nandagopal, Secretary of this great college situated in center of Madurai, the Madura College. My dear and respected Dr. Suresh, principals of this college, Sri N. Anand Srinivasan, treasurer of this great college, Madura College, and my dear friend and respected syndicate member Dr. S. Deenadayalan, organizing secretary of this conference, and my dear respected Professor Dr. MANICKAVASAGAM, former Dean, Faculty of Management, Alagappa University, Karaikudi, and my dear friend Dr. S. Karthikeyan, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics. And I could see that so many experts are going to talk today, the international conference on impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. Before I am going to give that inaugural address, I wish to congratulate the organizing secretary and also the college for arranging such a wonderful seminar to bring out so many experts from different parts of the not only country in the world. I mean, I have to say that before I am starting, I am proud to say that I am the old student of Madura College. My dear participants, this is a wonderful topic. Everybody should know that, because we are meeting unprecedented situation because of the COVID-19. First, we have to say that when it started COVID-19 infection in March 2020, first there is a slackish approach. When we know about the COVID-19, nobody accepted there is a disease is coming on. But when the lockdown is going, the people are understanding the COVID-19 and they're really afraid of this COVID-19 infection. For every movement, they are afraid of it, how we are going to live. I have to say that, or I have to register that Madurai Kamaraj University immediately took over some steps to take the message of COVID-19 to the public through the NSS volunteers in collaboration with the Chellamuthu Trust Madurai and NIMHANS Bangalore. So everybody knows that COVID-19, now last 8 months, the people are living with COVID-19. But what I feel that now they know that how to live with the COVID-19. I can say in a simple word, before COVID-19, we thought that we are the superior nature of the nature. But now the virus teaching to us, a small virus, a particle can teach us. The virus is there to take over everything. So now we feel that, yes, we have to live with the environment. We have to live with that, all the people around the world, and we have to have a new life after COVID infection. But what I feel that before we are going to talk about economy, we have to feel that we should not put that infected patient away from our life. But at the same time, we can away sociologically and then do something and help the people to live in the world. That is a very, very important thing. Madurai Kamaraj University had given near about 3 hostels for the COVID-infected patients. So now the infection slowly come down and we are reaching a healthy space or platform to live with the COVID-19. But today paper, if you are seeing that, everybody is expecting or thinking of a second wave of COVID-19. But I don't know that when they are going to confirm that. But anyway, I am coming to the topic where the COVID-19 affected everything, as my secretary rightly told that. Completely they affected, start from the global value chain, domestic production, trade, overall growth and welfare of this country, not only in India, but throughout the world. But now everybody is working together. How we are going to come out from this, the fall in every aspects. If you are seeing that, the 4th quarter, that is that first, 3 or 4 months of this 2020, the Ministry of Statistics told that the economic packages are decreased from 200 to 3.4%. It's a huge loss. But when you are coming to that, what you called, whether we are going to come out from there or not, everybody is looking for. The India economic activity fell from 82.9% in the March to go down to 44.7 in April 2020. September 2020, the economic activity was nearly back to the pre-lockdown period. But how it's possible? Because when you are going for the lockdown, even I am taking an example, when I am traveling to Madurai, from Madurai Kamaraj University, through Samayanalu Road, where so many of that other state workers are there in the roadside to give them juice, a fresh juice for the public. They earn the money and they are leading the life by the income what they are getting it. But today, I couldn't see these people where they had gone. What about their employment? Nobody knows that. Like that, I can say so many examples. The people, those who are going to live by getting some daily wages or daily work, now they are not available today. Even to my house in Tirupathi, where a fellow will come and iron my cloth and then get some 70 rupees, 100 rupees per day. But today, even we don't want to give the ironing cloth to these people, or they don't want to come into the street. Why? Because of the COVID-19. Because of that, the unemployment problem rises from 6.7 to 26% in the mid of June. So that is a great fall in the economy of India. What are the sector is going to affect it? My secretary rightly told that. For example, you are having the great loss in the energy sector, agriculture sector, manufacturer sector, stock market, e-commerce, defense, the state income and expenditure. Everything disturbed. Where it's going to be what I can say, chaos in the system. So during the lockdown period, near about 14 crore of people, youngsters, lost their job. There is an unemployment problem. So every day, they are finding out difficult to lead the life. So what we have to do there? So everybody is looking for, we have to do something. But as I rightly told that, or rightly, I expect you experts in the conference, it's not by single hand solution. All should work together to come out from these losses, or it's come out from the disturbance. I can say, we have to thank Government of India. Rightly, they have come forward to provide near about 170 crores of money to improve the Indian economy. Immediately, the Reserve Bank of India spared near about 3,75,000 crores for the people to come out from this disturbance. So now, if you are seeing that, after that, moving from March to September, even Subrao, the ex-former RBI governor, rightly told that now we are reaching the V-shaped structure in Indian economy. Yes, we can see that from March, there is a deeply decline in the economy. Now, because of that, the people are working together and the government, state and central government is supporting us. It's going up. That is called V-shaped economy. We are getting it. So that is now everybody is happy. But if you are asking the question, whether we are coming out from every fall, no. But we try to come out from the illness, what we are getting the different area, particularly when I am seeing that the pharmaceutical area, tourism and development, health sector. You see how many doctors are working together. Even they are not worrying about their life. They are worrying about the people affected by the COVID-19. So now, this conference, one-day conference, is going to give a real idea about the economy of India. Not only that real situation, I hope the book is going to give the suggestions how we can improve our economy after this COVID infection or COVID-19 infection. India, as everybody is saying that, now we have so many youngsters in the country, so they have to come forward to work together, because this conference is going to give the message of the participants from various colleges, youngsters. So you have to keen on understanding this, the experts talk, experts idea, and you have to look into the way in which we have to implement immediately to improve the economy of India. With this, once again, I have to thank our secretary of this Madura College, my dear principal and organizing secretary, my syndicate member, Dr. Dayalan, and other members who are going to actively participate in this wonderful one-day workshop. You wish all the best for the best outcome of this conference, and you have to give a wonderful suggestion not only to your state and also to the country, to the world. By that, the Madura College should take a main part to play a role on economy of India. With this, thank you one and all for giving me a wonderful opportunity to give the inaugural address for this wonderful conference. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for your thought-provoking address, sir, in the inaugural function. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Let me invite Dr. Puducherry, Principal of the Great Institution, to offer presentation.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Respected Secretary of our board, respected Treasurer, Honorable Vice-Chancellor of Madurai Kamaraj University, eminent speakers of today's conference, HOD of Economics and syndicate member of Madurai Kamaraj University, Dr. Dayalan, faculty friends, scholars and students. Indeed, it's a great pleasure to me to offer a felicitation address in this international seminar organized by the economics department of our college. Dr. Dayalan has chosen a very relevant topic for this seminar because everywhere, the daily newspaper and in the TV shows, there is a debate, discussion going on in this topic. As economy is connected with individual life, it is necessary for academicians to listen from specialists in this field. For an ordinary person like me, it is evident that life of many individuals is affected due to this pandemic. I could see many skilled laborers associated with us in our daily life have switched to different jobs as their natural earning methods are greatly affected. I could see a decline in the demand for workers, job opportunities, sales of several goods, etc. On one side, the COVID disrupts the normal health conditions of many, and in the other side, it is also disturbs the normal life of many. Survival of many people has become a challenge. Definitely, it is affecting the socio-economic conditions in our country. I often read in newspapers there is a decline in GDP, and I could observe it as we visually observe transportation sector, aviation sector, tourism sector are greatly affected. We all watched migration of workers at a greater number took place during the pandemic period. So I strongly believe all these will definitely reflect in Indian economy. But in every pandemic period, such impacts are common. And after listening to our secretary's speech, I believe that we are all in the hands of good economists of our country, and they will evolve policies to bring back a normal life in our country soon. I believe today's topic and talks by our speakers may open new perspectives on the impact of COVID in our economy and ways and means to come out of it soon. I thank Dr. Deenadayalan and the Department of Economics for having given me a chance to address you, and I wish this seminar a success. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your felicitations, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let me invite Professor V. MANICKAVASAGAM, former Dean of Faculty of Management from Alagappa University, Karaikudi. Before that, I would like to introduce a few words about him. He had 34 years of service in college and university and served as Dean of Faculty Management from Alagappa University, Karaikudi. To his credit, he has produced 36 PhD scholars and 80 MPhil scholars, and he has published 116 papers in journals and newspapers at the national and international level, and he has also completed 7 research projects from various funding agencies, and he has visited many countries like USA, Hong Kong, Bangkok to present papers in the conferences, and he has held many key administrative positions such as Controller of Examinations, Registrar, and Syndicate Member, etc. With these few words of introduction, let me invite Professor V. MANICKAVASAGAM, former Dean of Faculty Management, Alagappa University, Karaikudi, to deliver a special address. Welcome, sir.
Good morning to all of you. Deenadayalan sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Respected
Yes, sir.
Vice-Chancellor. Is it clear?
Clear, sir.
Okay. Respected Vice-Chancellor, Professor Krishnan, beloved Secretary of Madura College, Mr. C.A. Nadanagopal sir, learned Principal of the college, Dr. Suresh, the Organizing Secretary, Member of the Syndicate of Madurai Kamaraj University, Professor Deenadayalan, learned resource persons of today's program, delegates of this online international conference, and friends. I am extremely happy to be part of this international conference on impact of COVID-19 on our economy. After listening to the Secretary and the learned Vice-Chancellor, we could hear a lot of information about the present trend and how the COVID-19 has affected. Today, India has crossed 90 lakhs COVID cases, and we are now witnessing the second wave or even third wave. And there are hopes of vaccine being discovered very shortly, and hope that it will come to the market. And in this situation, what is the impact that has taken place on our economy? Because the world economy is shattered. India's fundamentals are strong enough to withstand the shock. And we could have read in the newspapers that countries like France, Germany, etc. have declared the second lockdown. And in USA, the number of cases, daily cases, is increasing day by day tremendously. And in India, as Vice-Chancellor pointed out, number of people have lost their jobs. And today, there are signs of economic recovery. You could have again read in the newspapers that the GDP has contracted very much. It is estimated that the GDP will contract by 10.3% this fiscal year. IMF has reported. Whereas countries, our neighboring countries like Afghanistan, will have a contraction of 5%, Pakistan by 0.4%, Sri Lanka by 4.6%. The only emerging market economy in our region is China. China has started the problem and is now strong enough with its economy. But as the former governor of Reserve Bank of India, Ramanujam, pointed out, that if the second wave is not very vigorous, then definitely our economy will pick up. That is what Dr. Ramanujam said. And the external value of rupee against the US dollar is also low. You will be aware that the external value of the dollar is determined by the internal value of the currency. And the Honorable Secretary pointed out in his speech that the inflation rate is 7.2%. In the Western countries, inflation is very much under control. But our inflation rate has been much higher. And it has ultimately led to the reduction in the value of rupee against the dollar. And there is the worst slump April-June quarter of 2021. Because GDP contracted by around 23.9% during this period. So there is a great loss in the economy in the form of loss of employment, loss of production, and overall contraction of GDP. And government has initiated a slew of measures. Government's relief measures in 3 tranches, Atmanirbhar 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, they have all been announced. And you could see there are green shoots today. The indicators are becoming increasingly evident Certain sectors like coal, electricity, and steel, these three alone account for half of our core sector index. They are in the positive territory. And the service sector is also showing the signs of upswing. But there are certain sectors where the recovery is sluggish, like construction, real estate. As the Vice-Chancellor pointed out, hotels and restaurants, they're all still struggling. And the world over, manufacturing is reviving. India is no different. In India also, the manufacturing sector is facing the revival process. But a sustained revival would depend on consumption, investment, and exports picking up. Simple economics will tell everyone that corporate investments are determined by the sales. So when there is no demand, there is no sales. And when there is no sales, the machinery in the factories cannot work to their full capacity. And therefore, there may not be any need to buy new machineries now. There may not be any necessity to add it to the capital expenditure of the company. And therefore, it is imperative today that the domestic demand must be increased, for which the government has initiated a number of measures. What they have undertaken is government expenditure at a high level, because it is unavoidable in today's condition. Government is spending too much today to induce the demand, domestic demand. Another thing is, when inflation is high, fiscal deficit also will be high. In order to bridge the fiscal deficit, monetization of the debt becomes essential. I will give you some examples in the world countries. United States has printed 3 trillion of extra money and has passed on to the people. In Europe, the German central bank has allowed Europe to print nearly $1 billion for direct transfer to the people. So at this stage, India also can print extra money to the tune of at least 1% of the GDP, so that this deficit can be contained. And as again Secretary pointed out in his speech, our banks are too much burdened with the NPA. NPA is of the order of 12.5% today. You could have seen recently, Lakshmi Vilas Bank, a Tamil Nadu-based bank, has collapsed because its NPA was around 25%. On average, in the whole country, the NPA level is at 12.5%. And therefore, recapitalization of the banks and regulation of the bad debt must get the priority today. Then only the economy can have the revival process. And the liberalization process initiated by the government of India today is very much appreciable, because recently government has permitted private operation in coal mining. So this measure is to be implemented with dedication and commitment. And again, the exports, first we saw the demand, first we saw the investment, second the local demand, third one, exports should pick up. Now, one information is that our exports have been sluggish, because for some years, even before the coronavirus pandemic started, our exports were sluggish, because countries like Vietnam and Bangladesh have stolen our share. And therefore, it is a must that we improve our exports also. And how the domestic demand will get increased depends on the post festival season. The confidence of the people and sentiment of the people have to help in reviving the local demand. So the key is to create growth conditions in the country to deal with a new normal situation. Now I conclude by saying that today economy is facing a crisis on the one side. On the other side, we are having dangers across our borders. Day by day, we are facing this process. We are facing this crisis. And our External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, has written a book, The India Way, the strategies for the uncertainties. There, he says how the foreign policy of the country should be. India should engage the US, should reassure Russia, manage China, consult Europe, bring back Japan into play, draw its neighbors, extend the neighborhood, and continue the support and cooperation of our traditional supporters. And therefore, if you follow the foreign policy like this, then we can concentrate on our economy rebuilding measures rather than focusing on our border security. So, revival of the domestic demand, augmenting the exports, and increasing the investments. These are the three ways by which we can revive the economy. Simultaneously, NPAs are also to be offloaded by recapitalization of the banks. So, I hope that the deliberations of today's conference will throw more light on the problems that are faced by the economy today and the possible solutions, and how we can get rid of this pandemic, because our public health has swallowed a lot of our hard-earned money, of course, in every country and India also. But one consoling feature is that, as the Nobel laureate Abhijit Banerjee rightly pointed out, we are now nearer to herd immunity, and therefore, second wave or third wave, even if they occur, they may not be that much vigorous. And therefore, we all hope and pray that the pandemic will not again cause any problem for our country. And definitely, Indian economy is all set for its recovery. So with this, I conclude my speech and I thank the organizers, especially Mr. Balakrishnan, who contacted me to deliver this address. I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your motivational speech. Let me invite Dr. S. Karthikeyan, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics and Center for Research, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone over here. Honorable guest, Professor M.KRISHNAN, Vice-Chancellor of Kamaraj University, respected Secretary of Madura College Board, and all the participants. It is an honor for me to have the opportunity to give a vote of thanks on this online international conference. I, on behalf of the Economics Department, the Madura College, Madurai, extend a hearty vote of thanks to all delegates of the conference for their presence through online and contribution to make this conference exemplary. I extend my thanks to Professor M.KRISHNAN, Vice-Chancellor of Madurai Kamaraj University, to take out time from his busy schedule to deliver the inaugural address and grace the conference. Thank you for your inspiring and encouraging us with your valuable words, sir. I express heartfelt thanks to Sri S. Nadanagopal, Secretary, Madura College Board, for the precious presidential address and also releasing the conference volume. Your words are really exhibiting our economy, what today, sir. It is my duty to thank our beloved treasurer, Sri Anand Srinivasan, sir, for his gracious blessings on this function. I thank Professor MANICKAVASAGAM, former Dean of Alagappa University, for his thought-provoking special address on this conference. A special thanks to Dr. J. Suresh, principal of our great institution, for providing the support to make the conference successful. I extend my gratitude to Dr. Deenadayalan, our captain, head of the economics department, the Madura College, for organizing this online international conference, which has attracted participants from all over the place in the world. I would like to thank all of our department faculty members, research scholars, and PG students for the grand presence in this conference. My sincere thanks to all the participants actively took part in the today's conference through online mode from across the world. This kind of support only encourages us to bring more in numbers of this in future too. I must not forget to thank the organizing team, especially Department of Economics, the Madura College, and co-organizer Dr. Balakrishnan, both the international team, non-teaching staff members of the Madura College, volunteers who are working hard from the last few days to make this conference successful. Thank you everyone once again for making it a great success. Have a good day. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Let me wind up the inaugural session. Now we move on to the next part of today's conference, for which I would like to invite Dr. K. Sadasivam, Associate Professor, Department of Environmental Economics, School of Economics from Madurai Kamaraj University, Madurai, to act as a chairperson for this session. Now I invite Dr. K. Sadasivam sir to hand over the session.
Good morning to everybody. Let me at first extend my heartfelt thanks and congratulations to Dr. Deenadayalan and his team, Department of Economics and Center for Research in Economics, the Madura College, an age-old college in Madurai city, and the host of the International Journal for organizing the first of its kind in the history of Madurai Kamaraj, Madura College, Department of Economics, holding an international conference, inviting speakers from all over the world, particularly inviting Dr. PARIN SOMANI from UK. Welcome, Dr. PARIN SOMANI, on behalf of the organizing team of this international conference. And at the outset, I would like to congratulate the whole team for inviting her. When I gone through the brief biodata of PARIN SOMANI, I am really very tired to read because she contributed much to the COVID-19 pandemic, especially by humanitarian approach. She was able to help more than 1 lakh people to learn about this particular pandemic all over the world. And she contributed 19 books and 19 articles in leading journals and newspapers and in the form of books. And also, she had presented her lectures and her views for about more than 100 international webinars and national webinars all over the world. And if we look at her contributions in the field of overall efficiency, I can say boldly that she is an orator, she is an author, she is a journalist too. Therefore, on that ground, also, I am happy to congratulate Dr. Tina Dayalan, who is the organizing secretary, my good friend, and honest syndicate member of Madurai University, for having organized this international webinar by inviting Dr. PARIN SOMANI. And by seeing her travel history, I am astonished to watch that she traveled to more than 79 countries all over the world. And if you look at her biodata, during this pandemic period alone, her contribution was commendable, and to congratulate PARIN on behalf of the organizing secretary and his team and the BODHI International Channel, I personally thank PARIN SOMANI for having accepted to deliver her valuable address on the impact of COVID-19 on the Indian economy. Such an eminent speaker, such an multifaceted personality is the speaker or is going to give a keynote address on the impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. Therefore, I warmly welcome you, PARIN SOMANI, by this virtual meet to India, and particularly to the Madura College, to give your valuable address. Thank you very much. Now, I invite Dr. PARIN SOMANI to give her address. Thank you very much. Thank you for the whole team for having given me this golden opportunity, particularly to chair the session, which is going to be delivered by an international scholar from UK, London, PARIN SOMANI. Now over to PARIN SOMANI. Thank you very much for the whole team.
Thank you very much, Dr. K. Shivam. I think so. You have said so much about it. It was lovely. It was a lovely introduction. And thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate that. I would like to say a big thank you to Dr. Balakrishna, Professor and Dr. MAMTA BRAMBHATT, and the organizing team for having me here today. I would also like to welcome Professor Dr. M.KRISHNAN, the Vice-Chancellor, Madurai Kamaraj University from Tamil Nadu, former Dean, Faculty Management, Professor V. Manichavasagam, and a Professor Dean, Department of Statistics, Dr. TIRUPATHI PADI, our patron, Shri N. Natha Gopal, Secretary of the Madurai College Board for Madurai, Chairman and Principal Dr. J. Suresh, and all the listeners and all my participants and everybody who are here present. to join in this virtual conference. It is my pleasure to be the part of this team, and I'm very thrilled when I was invited by Dr. Balakrishna. This is the conference where we are talking about the impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. This is something which we all are facing through, but this is something which we know so much about it, but just we wanted to elaborate how we can, what are going on and how we can help our society at large. So we'll start. What is COVID-19? Just for you to know that I was a victim of COVID-19. So I know how difficult it was when I was the victim and how difficult it was when I came to a stage of COVID-19 and how I recovered. But if you look at it, the COVID-19, it is a highly contagious virus. The first case was identified in Wuhan, China in December 2019. And it was declared a public health emergency on 11th March 2020. Thus, evolving into a global pandemic, the virus is transmitted through human interaction when a droplet of saliva or discharge from the nose of an infected person through coughing or sneezing is touched by non-infected person who then touches their eyes, nose, or mouth. It has caused a rapid spread of the virus due to the multiplying reproduction number. Government, prime ministers, and presidents have implemented strict lockdown measures to obtain the virus. At the moment, we all know that we are in a second wave of lockdown. So let's look at the currently, how with the global pandemic situations, we have found ourselves adhering to government guidelines through self-isolating or isolating with members of the family and staying safe at home. Although the world is having a phased reopening with the children going back to school and people going back to work. But looking at the situation, we have entered a new normal society. We are still having a socially distancing and wearing a mask on the face and gloves when we go out. It is difficult for us because we are the human beings and we are the creatures of habit and we do not like changes. The way in which we communicate has altered. We must adapt to these changes. Otherwise, we will be left behind in many aspects of the life. The Indian economy, if we are looking at the Indian economy prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, India has been living by a mixed economy model, by its own dynamics. The population growth has challenged a multitude of economic principles and theories, with theoretical growth model not experienced in the market. Yes, there were economic disparities experienced. There was an emergence of new middle class urban employment, a slowdown of cyclical business and growing competition between big companies threatening to overtake or make extinct small local businesses, forming the macroeconomic dynamics in India. With the increase of globalization of many economic functions do not work alone, but they work together. However, with the COVID-19 global pandemic, there have been considerable effects upon the economy due to the global connectedness of economic activity. The COVID-19 was formulated into this COVID-19 pandemic with the rapid sharing of information. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an impact on many aspects of our lives, including on the employment system, where many learned youths have lost their jobs. We all are aware of the situation. Education system with the closed of education institution and funding. Financial market with a negative growth rate in GDP external trade, and political systems. Indian corporate companies, the agricultural sector, the elderly people in society, women and migrant laborers who have endured the black march, walking from southern to the northern India. Therefore, the great reduction in the demand and the alteration in the pattern of consumption has put many industries in trouble. Unfortunately, COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the hospitality and the tourism industry immensely, as they had no business, which printing industries lost a magnitude of opportunity. In comparison, digital online platforms acquired a magnitude and a multitude of business opportunities such as Zoom, Google Meet, Skype, Microsoft Teams, amongst others, have flourished during the COVID-19 pandemic, creating opportunities for innovative ways of keeping the economy running. Hence, at micro level, the structural shift of occupational prospects and individuals' own corresponding suitability has been changed. Indian political system on 11th March 2020, the World Health Organization urged all countries to devise and implement strategies to detect, the treat and reduce the transmission of COVID-19 with immediate action. On 24th of March, we all remember the day when our Shri Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, announced a 21 days nationwide lockdown and quoted, in order to protect the country and each of its citizens from midnight to on that night, a complete ban to protect the country. It was imposed on people from stepping out of their homes, as India is currently the second most populous country in the world after China. It is not surprising that this pandemic has been very challenging situation. There have been individuals concerned raised on how the lockdown has hit India's poorest individual. However, this is a global concern and India's implemented the lockdown scenarios. Let's look at the hospitals and other medical facilities operated normally. Dr. Hank Beckham, a World Health Organization representative to India, quoted, India is at crucial juncture in its fight against COVID-19. The country has responded with urgency and determination, as reflected in the Prime Minister's bold and decisive leadership. The government has also aggressively stepped up the response measures, find, isolate, test, treat, and trace. Who is supporting the government's endeavors to further strengthening the intensifying surveillance and build capacity of the health system? WHO stands together in solidarity in the government in its firm to resolve, to overcome these unprecedented challenges. This is proof of Prime Minister Modi's correct decision aiming to protect his country and attempt to save people's lives. The government has also implemented strict law, order enforcement through policing is utilized to encourage and support the residents to stay indoors. Indian government has also put financial aid into place, endeavoring to help the economy's health infrastructure. Therefore, the political systems have tried to implement strategies that they feel will keep people safe. Political systems have been affected as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, within multiple countries around the world. It has resulted in legislations and political activities being suspended. The isolation or deaths of numerous politicians. Elections have been rescheduled, all due to the fear of spreading COVID-19. People are following the leaders of the country, but with uncertainty, as nobody has the answer within this global pandemic. We can see that the COVID-19 has had a great impact on Indian economy. The world itself has witnessed the existence of hidden inequalities between the countries, lacking strengthened public health system, global social protection, and economy that is sustainable, encapsulating quality occupations as a result of the pandemic. There is a requirement for a global leadership which has not been evident during this pandemic. There has been an impact on livelihood and a people and a public health. Castaphoric. However, this is an opportunity to alter, to rebuild trust. As we can see, that COVID-19 pandemic has altered variety of social interactions between individuals and communities that may continue after COVID-19, but there is an opportunity to rebuild trust. Now, let's look at the agriculture industry, how that has been affected. When I think about the backbone of Indian's economy, I instantly think about agriculture. This is because the primary occupation of an individual in India is agriculture. There have been many problems concerning agriculture productivity, insufficient pricing of agriculture products, problems of irrigation, non-availability of farm laborers, amongst others. Issues concerning production of produce dependent of external and natural conditions versus issues concerning pricing, which is a major thing. With a good produce comes higher pricing. However, if the pricing is higher, produce can be lost to competitive prices elsewhere. Therefore, even prior to COVID-19 pandemic, the agriculture industry had many inefficiencies as a result of agriculture land. Owners were always in pandemic of economic crisis. Although agriculture is the major occupation and source of livelihood of individuals within the country, unfortunately, the GDP is comparatively lower than other occupation. You see, the food and agriculture sector contributes the highest in GDP, and that is 16.5% and 43% to the employment sector. The major portion of the food processing sector, deals with dairy, 29%, edible oil, 32%, and cereals, 10%. India has also stand number 1 in dairy and spices, product at a global scenario. During the coronavirus pandemic, fortunately, agricultural industry was allowed to continue. But
presenting a paper in the international seminar today. So I got a call confirming the timings. So there is a webinar that is scheduled in the afternoon is my presentation. Okay. No?
Thank you, Mr. Albert. This included, according to the government guidelines, this included maintaining to a meter distance and avoiding group gathering. Therefore, it was not surprising that individuals who worked within the manufacturing industry previous to the COVID-19 pandemic decided to join the agriculture industry. This created a positive result for laborers who worked on farms. This has created awareness and contributed towards India's pro-farming ecosystem. It also contributed to the availability of electricity and the demand for the food. Agricultural industry have noticed to trend in produce where there is an increase in the consumption of organic vegetable and other farm produce. This will contribute to the agriculture industry and use of chemical-free produce. During social distancing, many consumers took to overstocking on essential products and commodities. For example, rice, flour, lentils. This increased sales of fast-moving consumer goods. Companies which it saw fall in the stroke in trade due to distorted supply chain. The e-commerce sector saw a deep in growth with the pressure on the supply chain deliveries and the expectation of the consumer on the companies to come up with the newer distribution channel, focusing on the direct to the consumer routes. Education is a process that has the ability to transform human beings into a wholesome, noble soul and an asset to the world through human development, promoting harmony, peace, love, friendship, and understanding. Childhood, excuse me, childhood is the foundation stone upon which stands the entire structure of life. And it is a fundamental right of every Indian child. A seed, a small seed is sown in a childhood, blossoms into a tree of life. Therefore, the education has an immense responsibility to transform a child into a leader. The Indian educational system is a combination of a governmental funded institution and private self-finance institution. There has been an attempt to broaden the areas of educational institutions through the country, including within urban and rural areas. There is an attempt to educate students to ensure literacy within the population. However, a restricting factor is financially constrained. There are grants available to help struggling educational institutions to attain have accepted standard of educating students in comparison to private academic institution or continuous starving to survive. There has always been a challenge between employable educated individuals and their requirements within an occupation. Therefore, when social distancing measures as a result of COVID-19 pandemic was announced, there was major uphill within education system. Traditional education has altered through history, progressing over approximately 100 years. Traditionally, students were categorized by their age and learning abilities. The teachers taught the same material to all students in the class who would be expected to sit in silence and learn, study, and memorize their work. That was the usual way. That's a traditional way. A variety of teaching methods would apply within each class. Tasks would be given to carry out manually, and students would primarily learn through observing and listening to the educator. Right now, in the late 19th century, technology started to be used in the school under the Vocational Education Act 1963. As a result of COVID-19 pandemic, The traditional methods of educating students within academic institution were completely stopped. The closure of academic institution has created a rapid shift from face-to-face education to teaching students via online. Online technology education in higher education institution has progressed due to increased globalization. This has resulted in changes within the infrastructure of private and governmental higher education systems, economizing resources. Prior to COVID-19, traditional education system was perceived as a habitual with regards to designing, teaching, and assessing. From the outset, initiating a journey into the higher education. Traditional education requires human admission from admission process, tuition fee, teaching, reading, or exams. Since the beginning of the lockdown in March, there has been a great progress made that address issues relating to course content, examination processes, and evaluating the implemented strategies. However, the use of technology has resulted in have to cut down jobs where humans have been replaced by technology. That means many private institutions have had to be unemployed. Staff members were unemployed, which is very sorry, which is very sad that machineries have replaced us, which has created a rise in unemployment numbers. For students, online digital learning has many positive and negative aspects attached, but some of which may include flexibility, motivation, hardware and software issues, and internet connections. The Indian economy has always relied on the tourism and hospitality industry, inviting tourists and prospering through creating the high GDP. The high GDP, the growth generally enjoys their weekend celebration while families enjoying dining out, of which contribute to economical growth, inviting the hospitality industry to create innovative ideas to please the services. The user of all these things have stopped. However, COVID-19 lockdown measures created a great impact upon this industry as individuals who would visit were on the lockdown themselves because they couldn't do anything. Societies can confine to their home with a complete travel ban. They couldn't travel. With a phased reopening have strategies implemented by government. Hospitality, tourism industry is gradually increasing. However, many individuals are still very cautious about going into the public places. During the lockdown situations, many people were searching for home food. They were searching for the homemade food that was made locally by micro-established cooperative brands. This has opened a niche to the food industry and created job prospects for individuals who have potentially become unemployed due to the pandemic. Individuals now are starting to interact with each other with cautious and have started to use the hospitality industry again. Naturally, the Indian economy will start to rise once again. And I'm very sure we as Indians, yes, it will rise up. We are there. We are going to support our country and we will be helping our country. India has always encompassed laborers within the economy with workers that endured long hazardous hours of manual labor for minimum wages. Unfortunately, they endure poverty due to the poor economic condition. These workers must be recognized as working very hard and producing great work, unfortunately, for minimum reward. The COVID-19 pandemic impact upon laborers resulted in job loss, thereby traveling back to their hometown. Usually traveling from the city of work back to their village or towns. These migrants have had to endure a lot of physical challenges as they have had to walk extremely long distances without any transports at all, because public transport had ceased to operate as a result of lockdown measures. As lockdown measures have gradually eased, construction owners have required workers for manual labor on the site to produce end result. Therefore, they invited the workers from their hometown and villages back to better employment conditions and negotiation of potentially increased wages. External trades, as we know that China is the initial epicenter of COVID-19 breakdown. Obviously, this has caused a global economic slowdown. Now, looking at the diagram on the slide, you can see China is India's leading important destination with imports, followed by US, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. The most impact sector being chemicals, textile and apparel, automotives, metals and metal products. These are the main important factors. China is also India's third largest export destination with a share of 5.3% of India's export. India's import from China are composed of capital goods 52%, intermediate goods 32%, consumer goods 14%, and raw material just over 1%. The disruption in the Indo-China supply chain might affect intermediate goods in India's manufacturing processes in the short run. However, it will be disruption in the import of capital goods that would create supply chain disruption in the Indian market as a machinery replacement and new technology are disrupted, thereby affecting productivity in the long run. As a result of COVID-19, approximately 18% of India's total export basket, for example, textiles, clothing, and transportation sectors have been affected the most. Moderate exposure can be seen for India's top 3 exports, which are fuel, chemicals, and stone and glass, which makes up more than 40% of India's export. Sectors that are less dependent on the export market, such as vegetables, plastic and rubber, animals, food products, etc., face the lowest risk of exposure. Based on recent studies, some economists have said that there is a job loss of 40 million people in the country, mostly in the unorganized sector. One of the biggest cause of the concern has been healthcare industry. It consists of hospitals that are either governmental, belonging to the charity institutions, or private hospitals for the better medicines and the healthcare. Many individuals were accustomed to use private hospitals in comparison to governmental due to the immense number of people requiring medical assistance. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many private hospitals were very limited. This facilitated all members of the society, despite their standing on the social caste systems, towards governmental medical hospitals. This created importance of governmental hospitals again in society. Medical staff, included doctors and nurses, have been worked tirelessly to help patients suffering from the virus back to the good health. as we know that the impact on our health is immense. Therefore, it is important to look after our health and well-being. So, what food we eat to maintain a healthy lifestyle? According to the UK government recommendation for a healthy diet, the following provide all the nutrients that we need to maintain our physical.
It's a request to kindly mute. There is a disturbance coming.
Puducherry.
சார் பண்ணிட்டேன் சார்.
என்ன சத்தம் கேட்டுக்கிட்டே இருக்கேப்பா. நீ இன்னும் பண்ணல. நான் இப்பதான் பண்ணிருக்கேன். ஓகே, தேங்க்யூ. ஏய், என்ன பண்ணப்பா. தேங்க்யூ.
Thank you.
Sorry for the interruption. Sorry.
That's all right. That's okay. Thank you for muting. I really appreciate that. So we can follow the trend of it. Now, this information which I'm giving you, this is according to the UK recommendation for the healthy diet. The following provide all nutritions that we need to maintain our physical well-being. Please note that these are the guidance for the healthy adult or a child over 5-year-old. Eat at least 5 portions of a variety of fruits and vegetables every day. Based meals on potatoes, bread, rice, pasta, and other starchy carbohydrates. Choosing whole grains food where possible. Have some dairy or dairy alternatives such as soya drinks. Choosing lower fat or lower sugar options. Eat some beans, pulses, fish, eggs, meats, and other proteins, including 2 portions of fish every week, one of which should be oily. And if you are not if you're vegetarian or vegan, alternatives are also available. Because I am vegan, and vegan does help you a lot in your healthy lifestyle. Choose unsaturated oils and spreads and eat in a small amount. Drink 6 to 8 glasses of water or a fluid or any drinks, whatever you feel comfortable. After eating healthy diet, we need to exercise regularly. Some people exercise all the time and some people do not. So what benefit does exercise have? We feel healthier, our hearts will be stronger, our lungs will be more efficient as they will expand, increasingly lung capacity. It will help with breathing and strengthening our immune system. It promotes weight loss. We feel more alert and happier due to release of our happy hormone. Our muscles can be stronger and we feel fitter. From a personal perspective, we have a mind, heart, and soul. The mind is intelligent but cannot work alone. The soul is peaceful but again cannot work alone. And the heart is loving, caring, tender. If you combine intelligence and peace together, you get fulfillment. If you link your intelligence and love together, you get harmony. When you link peace and love together, you are prime. However, when you link your mind, heart, and soul together, guess what happens? What happens? Then we can achieve pure happiness even during a global pandemic. So let's talk about the seniors. While COVID-19 pandemic has had its precautions on practically all areas of human existence, this crisis has particularly highlighted the need to provide a solution to the day-to-day challenges faced by our elderly members of the society. Senior members of the society contributed approximately 10% of the Indian population. The virus is deemed to be more severe amongst the elderly. Therefore, they are more anxious. Due to lockdown measures, the seniors are not allowed to mix with other family members or friends. This can make them feel more secluded with constrained movement and restricted finances. As life longevity increases, the elderly is being confronted with new innovations within this technological society. Simultaneously, the increased pressures of life result in younger generations become busier with less time to physically devote to the older generations. Social networking, particularly social media, is a powerful resource that can provide interaction between individuals of different generations within the same family or friends. Yet, we face a challenge of social exclusions towards the older generation within contemporary society, consequently affecting their well-being. It can also be perceived as an opportunity to learn new things and pursue forgotten hobbies. So this was the time when you can have you enough time to try something new, which you always wanted to do, but you couldn't do it because you don't have enough time. Our method of communication right now, our method is what has altered through the pandemic. Conventional mode of communicating these languages have altered to virtual platforms. Fortunately, our thoughts and ideas on these subjects area can still be communicated to each other, making sure our expression of language and development in these areas are not stopped. Think about it. They can be accessed from any device, not just the computer like within the past. In fact, tablets and smartphones have become the most popular mode of communication. Think about it. It ensures communication can occur anytime, any day, any hour of the day. Look at our mode of communicating right now. We are all on Zoom, video conferencing, communicating with each other through verbal communication, although we all are situated in different parts of the world. We can see each other's faces and gauge parts of non-communal communication as well. This is a language of computer. There, through the metaphoric and syntax, morphology and syntax, the computer is also able to write and read. Impact on women prior to the pandemic. Let's look at what the impacts have happened. There are already gender inequalities still existing in India. However, during the pandemic, these inequalities have been exacerbated, impacting females. This pandemic has hit the most vulnerable females, including domestic workers, health workers, daily wages. Many women have lost their jobs and incomes in larger numbers. Their increased time at home without domestic help has created more chores for women to fulfill. Women have had to face office closure, educational institution, most of which are transition to online platform when new skills were required to ensure productivity. In addition, social distancing measures and good personal hygiene is of utmost importance, but all of this has contributed towards splitting activities between genders. It has found that most of the unpaid work falls onto the woman. For example, domestic and care work. But there have also been increasing reports of domestic violence cases in household, as we know that Indian health system has been hard hit by COVID-19 pandemic. And it is a long-term implication will result in fatalities for women around the world. Every individual has been affected and each section of the economy. There is much uncertainty within the mind of stakeholders. The financial income of members within society were distorted. Some industries have suffered great losses, while other industries have flourished. So now the opportunities have been different. Like some who have lost so much economy in this pandemic, and some have started to build up their career, build up their businesses in a larger scales. India has become more dependent upon industries within the countries to boost economy and make a profit. This has created more opportunities. However, strategies must be devised in order to ensure positive sustainability. We can use globalization as an advantage to increase economy. Restructuring, which can be created a better economic future for India. The events of COVID-19 will certainly be marked in the 21st century history like previous important pandemics globally. The COVID-19 pandemic will potentially affect development and direction of human civilization significantly. There is much speculation about insufficient information to conclude what the world would be like after COVID-19, largely because we are still living through the pandemic. It is necessary to learn from the COVID-19 pandemic, as there has been a great disruption to society, economic loss of lives and suffering. However, it has also provides an opportunity to reflect upon how to implement better strategies in the future and avoid the mistakes from the past. When the novelty of restriction and the number of COVID-19 cases, deaths in the past, there will be an urge to return to the normal way of living with time to reflect and plan for resilient and such constructed future. However, historical events have illustrated we should not wait until that point. Next slide, please. Excuse me. Can you please answer the call? Sorry. The world is very unlikely to revert back to the world prior to the pandemic. There will be a probable increase in the global digital economy due to the rise of digital behavior during the COVID-19. The population in masses have adapted to remote learning and working. This can be highlighted through education, even telemedicine, online shopping, or delivery services. It has been proven that working from home has been as productivity as working within an office situation. Although before any organization were reluctant at that trial remote working, they never thought this can be a very effective way of working from home. However, having gained result, remote working may become a permanent part of the future. Structural changes within countries may also be increased, which might include regionalization of supply chain and data flow expanding across the borders. Every single citizen has been affected globally, despite gender, class, ethnicity, wealth, or experience in life. Governmental strategical analysis revealed that each person infected with COVID-19 can infect between 1.5 and 3.8 people with the virus. So if you look at it, the infection can increase by one person from 1% to 1.5 and 3.8 with the virus. So this can cause ill health or even death. Then a tremendous amount of human suffering, global medical emergency, and economic catastrophe has been caused. Many disparities have been highlighted as a result of the global pandemic, including economic inequalities, social values, highlighting a multitude of weaknesses and injustice. It was only key workers that remained working despite some with very low wages and social values. I feel that we should always aim to see the best in other people and situation. Turn a negativity view or a situation into positive by changing our way of thinking, our own way of thinking. A key of being happier our lives is to make the decision to always assume the people around us have good intention. We should understand they are operating to the best of their abilities and they mean you no harm. They mean you so well and there is no harm. But sometimes the misunderstanding does happen. And when we decide to assume other people have more motives, we protect ourselves from living with a negative mindset. So we should be surrounded by the positive people. And remember, every cloud, every cloud has a silver lining. And all good things comes to those that wait and learn from the situation. We cannot change the past, but we can build upon the future. The decision made during COVID-19 will shape the future of the world. Therefore, there is a need to stay safe, rebuild economic growth, prosperity within countries around the world. Together with resilience, international support is still key, especially if we are to create reconstruction plan. Focus is required on employment, creating tools for individuals to sustain themselves and their families, but also the creation of an innovative social contract. The pandemic has brought many challenges. Remember, this pandemic has given you so many changes have happened, and this is a challenging time. The world is upside down, but you know that, how to change and how to turn it back around. You are the future, the master of your destiny. When people around you are unwell and hungry, power and money you make alone is immaterial. We want to be the part of the wider solution, not the problem. But how can we do that? I have got 3 important messages. I have got 3 important tips to share with you. Number 1, believe in yourself. Nothing in life is constant. Even a caterpillar changes into a beautiful butterfly. So you know that. You have the strength to create positive change and inspire others. Do not be afraid. The world has faced previous challenges, war, disease, political unrest, financial crisis. We came out resilient and stronger than ever before. We learned from the past and created a better future. You can make this country prosperous again. Number 2, follow your true instincts. Do the right things. Do not forget your ethical values. Be kind, be humble, be generous, be fair, help each other. Be the person that builds bridges. Respect diversity, backgrounds, ethnicity, social, political, or religious lookouts. Remember, this is our country. You can change the world. You can change the future. You can make all the positive impact on the society at large. Start with your family and friends. I would like to end with a quote by Dr. Abdul Kalam. He said, "You cannot change your future, but you can change your habits. And surely your habits will change the future. And surely your habits will change the future." So by ending, I would say the economy will definitely come on. I'm sure we can change and we can help the world. Thank you very much for inviting me here, and thank you for listening. Namaste.
Namaste. Dr. PARIN SOMANI, I am very happy that I could get a good chance to chair the session which Dr. PARIN SOMANI has delivered for about 1 hour. After listening to her lecture, I can confirm that he is eligible and competent enough to receive more awards, which I have forgotten to introduce while introducing about PARIN SOMANI. When I read his biodata, her biodata, I could see that she was able to back up more than 16 awards all over the world. To be very specific, in the year 2019 and 2020, she got more awards, including Dr. Abdul Kalam Award. For that also, on behalf of the Madura College and Organizing Secretary Dr. Tina Dayalan and his team and the Principal of Madura College and Madurai Kamaraj University Vice-Chancellor, I can say that this lecture has benefited much. In the words of Somani herself, we can conclude that her lecture was planned in such a manner that which connected mind, soul and heart. Thank you very much for your good insights about the impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. And on the whole, I can say that the lecture delivered by Somani was very useful and very informative, and was having more insights into the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much. And I thank everyone for having given me this opportunity. Thank you very much. Over to the Organizing Secretary.
Madam, thank you very much for your enlightening and empowering and encouraging speech. Really, we are very much fortunate to have you as a resource person for this international conference. Let me invite Professor Dr. T.K. Villalan, Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Economics from Pachepas College, Chennai, to chair the preliminary talk session. And the resource person for the this preliminary talk session is Dr. TIRUPATHI Rao PADI, Professor and Dean, Department of Statistics, Ramanujam School of Mathematical Sciences, Pondicherry University. So on behalf of the Department of Economics and Center for Research in Economics of the Madura College, we wholeheartedly welcome you. Now, I invite Dr. T.K. Villalan to chair this session and introduce the resource person for this preliminary talk. Thank you very much.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Professor Dean Dayalan. Professor Dean Dayalan.
Yes, yes, sir.
What is about my backdrop? Is it in mirror image or correctly displaying? It is the banner.
Correct, sir.
Huh?
Correct, sir.
Correct. No need to change.
So you are in the right position.
Okay. Right.
Very good afternoon. This is an important conference on international level from Madura College, where we are discussing about the impact of COVID-19 and the Indian economy. As we see that the pandemic started last year, originated from China, and now it is almost a year over. And now we had lived with this pandemic, and we try to safeguard ourselves physically, and we have also placed certain economic measures to take care of these economies of the world and so. And so what we need to look into today is the post-pandemic realities. It is not that pandemic issues what we have gone so far. See, many rich developed countries affected much larger than the developing countries. America, Spain, Italy, Greece, England, among some of the countries were worst affected due to the COVID-19 virus. And quite interestingly, last October 2019, just few months before the virus erupted from China, the Johns Hopkins University, United States of America, released the first Global Health Security Index, a comprehensive analysis of countries that were best prepared to handle an epidemic or pandemic. In that report, it is found that United States of America ranked first overall, and they are number one in prevention, early detection and reporting, sufficient robust health system, and their compliance with international norms. These advantages look like a joke today, but by March to July of 2020, less than 5% of the world population, US, had over 25% of the world cumulative confirmed cases, and per capita daily death rates were 10 times higher than that of the Europe. World Health Organization say in its weekly report, which they say that COVID-19 cases and deaths continue to increase with almost 4 million new cases and 60,000 new deaths recorded. Cumulatively 53.7 million confirmed cases and 1.3 million deaths have been reported to World Health Organization. Indian economy too faced the impact of this virus too harsh. Indian economy suffered almost all important sectors earlier due to demonetization and GST policy changes. In addition to that, COVID-19 affected much on individual as well as the economy. Indian economic growth is currently measured over a negative 10% of GDP and will hit hardly the economy in coming 2 years. India's consumer price index increased and the imports and exports shows a negative trend. During April 2021, the cumulative exports contracted to a negative 19% and import by negative 36.3%. Industrial sectors too showed a negative trend. Unemployment is a major issue to look into. This post-pandemic, what we are going to do with these situations? We know the knowledge of pandemic, and all individuals have safeguarded themselves, and our country is more vulnerable to the traditional medicines, and people are aware and government focused on that. And also we faced many critical issues politically with this. Now what we need is to act this post-pandemic situation. We need a stabilized growth. We need a favorable external sector stimulating our economy. We need a stabilized price situation and productive banking activities. Pandemic period saw no role of fiscal measures by the government. The fiscal adjustment was there. More specifically, fiscal measures for the poor and affected people. Monetary side also, we lack support for the pandemic situation. So to carry out, we need a good economist, a policy maker to support the government, and government too with the advice and policy decisions of the economist carry out the development activities. See, there are countries and there are people, it all depends upon the governance is very important in the post-pandemic situation. I would like to say one important thing when in US, again, Trump said, I will decide myself because I am the only intelligent available in the camp. And when he was discussing with the foreign experts on foreign policy making decision, he said that I can decide myself because my brain is supreme. These are all being printed in the news medias and book medias. So what we need here is India also suffering a problem of a very good economist. For the past 5 to 6 years, we don't have an economist sit in the table for continuous period. Economists and the policy makers are there and they come and decide something, and in between they go away. So we need a policy maker, we need an economist to look into the post-pandemic situation where India has to face. We are in the issues of globalization. We need to face the present globalization situation and for a future economy. The globalized world is facing a problem of inequality and poverty. And there is a vast gap between technology and economic development found in this Indian economy. The world today see the artificial intelligence and fourth industrial revolution. Though we are number 4th country in starting its institution like fourth artificial intelligence, industrial revolution here, but we haven't started anything on technology. We have a problem of threat to the climate change, and we have to see the effects of climate change. And in all the future problems by another 10 or 20 years, we need to look into all these problems after this pandemic. So the post-pandemic attention is very much important, with a clear-cut thinking and a good governance is very much needed. With this introduction, I give the mic to Dr. Professor Tirupathi Rao, Dean from the Pondicherry University, Department of Statistics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yeah, please carry on.
First, let me consider my name for your international online conference on impact of COVID on Indian economy, one-day conference. Of course, it's being organized by Madura College and BODHI International Journal. And I'm very much grateful to you for inviting me to share some of my views on the eve of the pandemic situation, COVID-19. Just now, my previous speaker, I have to thank our previous speaker. She has she has given very good inputs, and her speech is totally optimistic. And that is the need of the hour when we are handling the crisis. So the people like PARIN, SOMANI, they have some influence and they can make their impressions through like these forums. As educational institutions, you people have a great responsibility. We have a great responsibility to alert and encourage from the situations. We have to safeguard ourselves from the nature calamities by keeping ourselves safe and keeping the future generations also safe. With a due thanks to all the people, once again, Professor S. Deen Dayalan, Professor J. Suresh, Professor Nadana Gopal, Professor M.KRISHNAN, Professor V. MANICKAVASAGAM, PARIN SOMANI, and MAMTA BRAMBHATT. Today, my talk is mostly on, okay, I have to share the screen. Am I right? Am I visible?
Yeah.
Am I visible, sir?
Yes.
Just a moment. I will make a blow of this one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And my presentation is not visible. That is for me. That is what I wish to say. Okay. My is my slide is visible?
Yes, 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 we can see.
Okay. Now the topic is that impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. Say plenary talk. How much time I had to take, sir? Right now, the time is 12:59. That is 1 o'clock now.
Yeah.
May I know what is the time, the chairing session? PKS Vilalan.
Yeah, yeah. See, basically, no, we lost so much of time in the last speaker, but can it be 30 minutes?
Professor Villalan.
Yeah.
Sir, you can go up to 120, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. So you take it around 20 to 25 minutes.
20 minutes.
Okay, sir. No.
Sum of 20 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right. Now, before speaking on this COVID pandemic, I'm so positive and optimistic. Let us categorize the COVID impacts. Around 10 categories we can say the COVID impacts. It is on phenomenal, not on individual domain. So the positive impact of the COVID is that we have learned so many lessons. When crisis comes, how to handle. And we have explored many abilities what are with us in the format of challenges. To face the challenges, we make ourselves more empowered. So I can say there are many positive dimensions on this COVID pandemic. So one category, we can say that impact of the COVID on positive lines, and we can say a proactive. See, we can make a plan, or we can design a better way of living or better way of facing the challenges or crisis by making something well in advance. When I am having any problem then I visit to the doctor. One of my friends in the Zipmer, a doctor, he used to say that coming or exposing to any disease is a signal given by the God Almighty. Make your measures so that you will be safe. It is something like a signal given by nature, stating that what best we can perform. Instead of reactive, we can go for proactive. Proactive means designing the strategies to face the crisis like this pandemic. Reactive is something like after facing what we have to do. So coming in the positive aspect, what I understand that to dealing the effects or causes related to this pandemic, how best we can face and how best we can handle by adopting the reactive measures. Of course, we have to measure. As a statistician, I have a belief to measure the impact. You have to measure the impact relatively. See, the loss or the threat or different exposures are varying from category to category and person to person, context to context. There are different stakeholders in the society. some are contributing for productive side, some are contributing to the knowledge dissemination side, some are human resources, some are coming for food and other things. So every stakeholder in the society are having their roles. So the impact of this pandemic situation is also varying. It's a relative. Some people, for example, striving for food, striving hard for getting the meal for today, day to day, they may have this situation is very, very, very bigger. Whereas some people may be blessed with, or some privileged groups are there, that the impact may not be that much effective when compared to the previous one. So when I say that the impact measure is relative, we cannot understand the global problem unless we have the local issues. Therefore, there are some impacts which are varying from person to person. We can categorize them that impacts are relative. Another phenomenon, you call it as associative. Associative means relational. I would like to say that the conference theme is on impact on economy. See, economy is a main stuff to make the healthy livelihood, lifestyles, either at society level or at individual level. You can say that the impact of economy is a dependent variable. In my terminology, statistics terminology, the impact or effectiveness of the Indian economy is dependent variable, which is influenced by many causing factors. The causing factors that the revenue that is being generated, for example, at individual level, what are the revenue sources for him? What are the expenditure sources for him? It is purely local problem. When you are expanding this problem, local to global, then a family and a village and a community or a nation. Now we are speaking about the Indian economy. At a micro level, it is influenced by individual. If you say it's a macro level, Indian economy, that has an influence of individual. Individual in the sense their revenue and expenditure should have a matching. So that's the reason why I have used the term called relative. It is a relative. The impact to underprivileged is more than the privileged group. Anyway, as my previous speaker, I am so optimistic to make the relational or associative factors that are influencing the economy is very important. So you have to study the associative factors on economy. This is another area where the intellectual community has to focus. We have a beautiful resources now. Human resource is very good to the Indian context now. The median age group of Indian population is 25 to 30. Coming 10 to 15 years, our median age group is more productive. So therefore, our human resource development is another factor to make impact on economy with different sectors. We know that industry sectors are there, service sectors are there, productive sectors are there, manufacturing, or whatever you call it as. So all these sectors are making their activity, generating the revenue, meeting their expenditures. Overall, they are making the resources like money and time and other resources into a productive fashion. So there are associative impacts, means causing factors are there which are independent in nature, but the dependent is again economy. So economy is related with the many factors. We cannot claim a single factor to say that. It is a dependent variable. And the influence of each independent variable is varying again. So in society, we have different stakeholders. There are stakeholders are more productive group. They are contributing to the economy. There are stakeholders which are already experienced and retired group. They are considered to be elders. Their contributions are become now we are enjoying with the present generation. Similarly, there is a generation which is children age group. They have to be made as a productive group. So all the stakeholders of different types, they have their own way of influence or relation on the impact of. Sir, it is something different. Disturbance is coming. Admin is requested to mute off all that. And another one is reflective. Reflective is something like when we say it is an imaginary concept. There is for any action, there is a reaction. Similarly, reflections are something like an indicators to make our study or to make our observations more meaningful. So reflective impacts are also there. Recursive means recurring or repeated things that are adding. We have to consider that impacts. Of course, there are negative impacts. Mostly people are panic about these negative impacts. Panic is not the solution. We have to struggle. We have to face. We have to design the strategies. We have to implement the strategies. We have to make the things to be done with all confidence. So, of course, we have to observe what is the impact of the negative side. But we have to assess the negative impact so that we can measure it, so that we can design the way what we have to deal the things. So negative impacts also to be studied that are very essential to know the indicators. They will act as signals. So for getting the indicators and the severity of the problem, we need the negative impacts of this COVID. Coming to another thing is, now I can say to this learned community, there is a Saptapati of knowledge. There are 7 steps in the knowledge, 7 generations of the knowledge. The knowledge is having, being a human beings, we are separated from other animals with a quality that we are having is called discretion. We have a quality that is called adaptability. So discretion is an area where we have to make use of to face the different consequences. The next step is logic. The next step or next generation of the knowledge component is logic. Knowledge, another component is art, science, technology, and engineering. Arts means a knowledge format to deal a particular situation may not have sufficient scientific principles behind it, but the people who involved in the situation, they are able to handle the situation by means of their experience, their expertise, their exposure, their observations, their inspection, everything. There you can say it is a phenomenon called artistic way of handling the things. When come to the other thing is called science or scientific way of handling the things. Science is a knowledge format supported with established facts as theory, established principles as theory background. So science or scientific approaches are very much essential to handle any crisis. Now, next thing is we call it as technology. Now, as my previous speaker has correctly focused that, how technology now came to our rescue, how we are interactive in a crisis period also. We are not isolated. Physically, we may be isolated, but we are interactive with all the way what it is required for. So, the usage of technology is another area where we have to make use of it. Then what is engineering? Engineering is something like doing things in a skilled way, in an expert way, in a specialized way. So we have to say that the engineering is something like doing the things in a skilled way is another requirement. Our knowledge formats will help us to come out of this crisis. And the final step of the knowledge format is innovative. I have discussed about 6 steps already. Discretion of the mankind, logical sense of understanding and implementing, artistic view of handling the crisis, and scientific methodology we have to adopt to handle the crisis, and technology help we have to take, science technology methodology we have to apply for handling the takes, and engineering way we have to make it. And final one is innovative way. We have to think differently. Our perception should be different. Then only we can handle the things in a very effective way. So, my friends, what I wish to communicate you that in handling the impacts of the COVID, for the dimension of economy related, we must be innovative, we must be creative, we have to think differently how best we can face the situation. And the final, my observation is that any crisis is tentative. It is very temporary. I don't think this problem will be continuous because our human body system or our society immunity system has its own way. Whenever some crisis comes accidentally, the body is struggling sometime and it will get immune to fight with coming situation. So our human body has such a beautiful mechanism. Whenever a foreign element coming to our domain, our antibodies will resist and antibodies will fight, and meantime the body will develop its immunity. Likewise, society is handling a crisis and it is getting immune for the situation. So what I understand that we are going to witness this problem as tentative only. It is really purely temporary. Temporary. It is purely temporary. So what I understand from this, I can categorize, or we can categorize the impacts of the COVID in 10 possible folds. Among all these, we have to think about all are contributing your theme of the conference today, how best we can improve or we can understand the phenomena of economy. Now coming to the COVID-19, of course, it has given a very good impact on education and learning system now. Virtual mechanism become a prominent system now. It has opened broad avenues how to handle. We cannot disturb or we cannot distract our interaction. We will be in touch with everybody. We are connective. We are connective through technology. So there are changes in education where we have from Gurukulas to, if you observe this changing evolutionary procedure of education and learning. Now we have another phase we are facing, making help of technology for continuation of education and learning process. it is as good as oxygen for our living. Our living, we need oxygen. And for better living and a lively living, we need education and learning as a continuous process. So therefore, nothing can stop this process. So we can face this one. New definition of virtual workings came. Virtual working. See, earlier, when you see this e-commerce or e-business, when I was student around 40 years back, I learned this commerce, e-commerce. I have heard about it. I have so many apprehensions at that time. But later, I came to know that we have a physical system of transaction of goods. We are able to identify who is seller and who is buyer. But later what we observed that we don't know who is selling the product and who is getting the product. We don't have any familiarity in between the seller and the buyer. There is a mechanism which is going between or threefold. One is information flow, another is cash flow, and another is product flow. So there is a supply chain from the producer or a supplier to the customer. So there are so many people in between in the network, and everybody is playing in his own way of role. So therefore, the supply chain, if you say that information flow from customer to seller and seller to customer, there is every way, sometimes it is a mutual way of conversation. So information flow is an important thing. And then you know that all you are aware about how to make purchases in net market. So in the net market, we have a process called money transaction, and money cash flow is there. And another one is after payments and everything is over, the product also will flow. So everything is virtually happening before the physical happenings. So physical happenings are inevitable. There is no other go. I could understand. I can say that are not that are essential, but to accommodate the physical means of functioning, we are badly in need of virtual mechanism. So therefore, this COVID pandemic has given good opportunities to work with virtual systems. Alternatives, it has designed the alternatives for physical working means. Yes, we have to consider that. It's a big breakthrough the culture and tradition. Now we are going to witness a new culture and tradition. Usually traditions and customs will not have any revolutionary changes. We will have evolutionary changes only in traditions and customs. But thanks to the COVID, it has made revolutionary traditions, revolutionary changes in customs and traditions. As old days, we have some practices that are acting as safeguards. Now again, humankind or mankind is identifying what our ancestors have developed, the living systems, or now again we are looking towards it. So in that way, we will be thankful to the COVID for making healthy practices in culture and tradition. And we are witnessing now classrooms of different natures. Open classrooms, okay, open learning, home learning. The people are learning process is not stopped. You see, very beautiful phenomena because we have a strong desire. It is an oxygen. Learning is an oxygen. So therefore, nobody can stop it. Nature also cannot stop it. So therefore, we are learning from home. We are learning from usual physical classes. And now we are handling open classrooms. The speaker is open to everybody. Recently, one of WhatsApp videos I have witnessed. The teacher and student both are new to these learning systems. Teacher, while teaching, he is thinking so many things. Earlier, he is thinking only content what I have to deliver. But psychologically, he is very weak. I'll tell you, a person who is handling the kindergarten students or even elementary school teachers, they are having a lot of pressure. What is that pressure? Earlier, they used to teach the students and they know that only student is listening their class. But now, including the student, parents are also listening the classes. So when parents are listening the classes, he have a scare whether I am speaking correct, whether I am doing correct, whether I am delivering the goods in a proper way. In that way, it is working in a backdrop and he is performing the duty. See how much pressure he is facing, how much deviation, distraction he is facing. All these things are now challenges. Okay. Now, earlier we don't have the opportunity to visit my kids' class. Now we have an opportunity. We can see what is happening in the classroom. My parents are very much anxious to know what is happening there in the classroom. Usually, some parents don't have an opportunity at that time. Now let us have that opportunity with my children. I want to visit engineering class. I want to visit my daughter is now doing architecture class. I want to visit her class. So the teacher handling the class, they are in the impression that somebody is watching my class who is above my knowledge. And you just think about it. As a teacher, you have a lot of apprehensions on that. With that backdrop, working is not that much easy. But still, we are making our works. So challenges to economy is, again, I have mentioned that are all related. Challenges to living styles, these are all things. Phenomenal cultural changes we are going to witness. And this COVID has given a phenomenal breakthrough by saying that we can refer earlier. It is 200 BC during the time of BODHI. Okay, it was happened, something like we are using to refer history. But in coming days in the history, we may refer our civilization before COVID and after COVID. So that may be a millennium change happened in 2020. Okay, so 2020 has witnessed a very phenomenal change in the reference, civilization reference. Now, positive impacts have, people have searched for the alternatives during challenges, converted threats as opportunities, challenges as blessings, weaknesses as strengths, limitations as abilities, improved proactivity, identified the strength of the nature, and identified the strengths and limitations of individuals as well as a group. So I can say these are the positive impacts. Okay. Coming to the changing work styles, if you say, changing work styles are now different now. Absence of physical transactions, we are witnessing virtual alternatives, work from home, virtual business, already I have given some information on it, and communication through technology, influence or shift in traditions. Traditions, there is a lot of shift, sudden change. Okay, information flow in e-commerce, just now I have mentioned, cash flow and product flow, supply chain between customer and server is a very phenomenal changes now we are witnessing. And I'll just share an experience of a Mumbai employee when they are in the phenomena that there are different categories of employees. As I said, they are daily wage workers, they are IT employees, etc. I had an opportunity to listen the experience of an IT employee. He suggested work from home, the positive sides. Of course, it may be applicable to a few people, but still we have to consider that. That is, he said, we can minimize, see, because of my profession, it is in central Mumbai, employed in a central Mumbai, I have to travel to the central Mumbai from outside of the Mumbai, outskirts of the Mumbai. My travel time, at least to going office, it will take 4 hours, and coming from office also taking 4 hours. I have to be stay there at 8 hours. So 4 plus 4 plus 8, 16 hours. Out of 24 hours, only 8 hours remain. I have to pay for my sleep. Most of the times, I'm reaching to my home when my children were in sleep, and I'm going to office when my children again are on the bed. So occasionally on Sunday only I'm able to see my children. But now the thing is totally different. I am available at home. I was asked to work from home, and I have minimized the travel time. I have minimized the traffic congestion. How much fuel I have to spend, how much time I have to spend, how much mental agony I have to face. Okay, how many physical hours I have to miss my family. So now I'm spending, so to minimize that, I have to take my residence, which is more nearer to my workplace. So the workplace, and the more the distance between the workplace and my residence, it makes so many complications. For that, if I want to minimize the distance, I have to pay more in the format of rents or in the format of living expenditures. If you say, these are all now minimized. Is it not the economy? Is it not we are investing? We are getting something, savings? He said, see, now I am saving my time. I am saving my efforts. I am saving my money, which is not spent on different non-meaningful expenditures. And he also predicted the future generation is that you may not see the face of the employer. You need not see. And similarly, employer need not see the face of the employee also. Now, the tradition we are adopting that employee and employer have eye-to-eye connectivity because they are physically interacting. But coming days, there we may going to witness the situation called, we have to make virtual way only. You need not see the employer who is he in physical way. And similarly, employer may not aware who is their employee. This is the situation we are going to face. So traffic congestion, so time to travel, fuel expenditures, exposure to the risk and hazards, mental agony, and pressures in the related issues. So particularly what we call it as a family are spending my healthy time with my family is now increased. I'm just seeing the positive side of it. Now you just see my colleague who is now in Chennai, and he had a kid at the age of 5 years or 4 years. That kid is making so much of depression when she is able to say that his father is going to away from him up to 1 week. But during the COVID period, she has developed a lot of affinity with him, and she is literally unable to accept the fact that he has to go again for 1 week leave, only Saturday and Sunday is coming. And this type of phenomena has given some psychological disorder to the children. But now, of course, my university has allowed their employees to work from their home, and he is taking the classes from the Chennai. Okay, and now he is spending his happy time with his children, and moreover, he has a commitments. There are old age people for which he has to take care. That is also simultaneously being carried out. So what I wish to say, these type of experiences have phenomenal changes, but they are wanted. Thanks to COVID, to set the alternatives. So hope my time is 1:30. So I will make it one more presentation and I will stop. No issue. Current trends in learning is conduct of cost-effective virtual conferences like this. To conduct one conference and earlier, how much cost we have to pay? To give the impression that we are handling a virtual conference, I have made my background as your conference banner. Thanks to Zoom, they have a facility. We don't have this facility with other platforms. And now I have given impression that I'm addressing in a conference. It's a virtual conference by seeing my background, So opening online learning through virtual teaching, time and effort issues, reachability to the audience, changing research orientations, paradigm shift and mind settings of the teacher and student. These are all the trends in learning. So major sectors that are facing the breadth of coronavirus outbreak is basically 6 categories I want to focus it. Hospitality industry, some of my previous speaker has focused at it. Real estate, banking, commerce, marketing, IT, media and entertainment. So these are all the different areas where I can say 6 major affected areas, but there are enormous areas which are under effect, and they are all contributing some way or other, indirectly influencing the dependent variable that is called economy. So economy status or the healthy conditions of the economical status are always influenced by different independent variables. And these are all some fields. I don't have time to more focus on it, but however, I'm just giving the main headings. The details are there in the future slides, in the coming slides, but due to the paucity of the time, I'm just stopping here, and with a note that I'm with a great positive opinion on the COVID. COVID is a wanted and welcoming phenomenon that changed our lifestyles and to design our life as a living phenomenon. So with these few remarks, I would like to thank the organizers for giving this wonderful opportunity to share my views on international forum, and audience are spread all over the globe. Thank you one and all for giving me this beautiful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for your valuable insights into the issues related to the COVID-19 and Indian economy, and the amenities and the space given for us to understand how this society will move. But basically, the problem is this.
Yes, sir.
The main problem is our economy is being affected. The economy is being affected, and sectoral contributions are negative. And individually, we had learned many.
Sir, you are not audible. You are not audible.
Yeah.
No.
On a whole, the economy is being affected. Individuals have learned many technological issues.
Yes, sir. I too agree. I too agree with you. Completely agree. But what I want to say, no need to be panic. We have to handle. We have to handle the situation. That is what I understand.
I understand.
My idea is that one.
Yes, good. Since beginning of the world, the pandemics have come in. The history speaks about lot of pandemics, and they say this is a kind of a pandemic, and that we will be experiencing some more pandemics in future too. But the problem is this: we have to take care of the economy, because the entire mass of people, from the poorest to that of the rich, has to be benefited or has to be safeguarded. And they have a problem already due to so many economic measures. And so Indian economy is a problem on a whole, not because of COVID alone, but because of
Yes.
and we need a proper person to look after. And this is what is going in US also. So the economy needs to be strengthened with a proper direction.
Policy makers have to contribute.
Yeah, policy makers and very good economists, which we lack at present. With this, I thank you very much for your interest.
Let us hope the best and optimistic. The policy makers will be coming from the society now. The policy makers and the intellectuals like you people coming from the society now. They can suggest the alternatives.
Yeah. With this,
I have a positive or optimism on this.
With this, I hand over the mic to the Professor, the Madura College. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the Department of Economics, the Madura College, Autonomous Madurai, and BODHI International Journal, I wholeheartedly submit my special thanks to the chairperson. And the chairperson has delivered an excellent talk regarding the impact of COVID-19 and on Indian economy. Of course, you may be given an opportunity to deliver one of the special invited talk, I think so. And I also submit my special thanks to Dr. Tribadi Rao BODHI, Professor Dean, Department of Statistics, Ramanujam School of Mathematical Sciences, Pondicherry. And they have also given an enlightened speech on the impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy, especially in a positive direction. So we wholeheartedly thank both of you for the coming, delivering, for having delivered your lectures on the topic of impact of COVID-19 on Indian economy. So let us wind up the morning session, and I request all the participants to come back again at 2:15 sharp for the afternoon session. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Both the professors.
Shall I leave now, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. இது இப்படியே இருக்கட்டுமா கருத்து?